Hey guys, it's Dr. Bickling from Own It Dental. As always, here's my contact information if you need to get a hold of me. And if you guys are enjoying these videos, please do hit that like button, hit that thumbs up button. It's right down below. It only takes you a second and it pays to do it. Speaking about paying, today we're going to talk about how do you pay your staff? How do you pay your people? Now, certainly there's no one right way of doing it, but I'm going to give you some ideas and some principles that help me keep staff happy working 7 days a week in my offices. So let's dig into it. All right, so like I said, today we're going to talk about how do you pay your people? How should you pay your people? Last week we talked about doing some incentives and incentivizing behaviors that you want to replicate. And that's going to tie perfectly into today's video. But I got some of the principles on how I should pay my people from this book here, Drive by Daniel Pink. Looked like my finger got cut off there. There it is. In any case, and so this is one of my favorite business books, probably one of the books I've read the most or listened to the most on audio, Drive by Daniel Pink. And one of the things he talks about this is the concept of internal and external fairness. You know, when you're paying your staff, you can't violate these rules, the rules of internal and external fairness. Now, internal fairness is that a staff member must get paid similarly to somebody within your organization who has the same qualifications, does similar job, works similar hours, and or has similar results. You know, so if somebody follows those patterns there, you know, you got to pay them the same. But they also need to have external fairness, which means if a staff member must get paid similarly to somebody outside of your organization who has similar qualifications, does a similar job, works similar hours, and has similar results. So if you violate these rules, your staff's not going to be happy, right? They're not going to be too driven. So whenever I'm thinking about how am I going to pay my staff, I have to think about, is it going to have internal fairness and external fairness? You got to think about those things. So, but it's, you know, our offices are usually open evenings and weekends. At least that's what I'm telling my clients to do. But as soon as we make our staff work evenings and weekends, they're no longer working the same hours as somebody across the street. And if we're paying them the same, we're violating external fairness. You know, we're asking more of our staff. We're asking them to take time out of their evening and take time out of their weekends. And staff is only going to accept it if we're going to pay them more to do it. But, and you guys know me, you know, I'm all about, you know, pay your staff. But don't pay your staff more on just a flat hourly rate. You know, when I talk about in my last video, incentivizing behaviors that you want to replicate, if you just give your staff a big, huge salary, you know, hourly wage, all you're doing is just incentivizing them to show up and collect the paycheck. That's all you're really incentivizing. You're not necessarily incentivizing them to do a good job or to do certain things or to fill hygiene. You're just incentivizing them to take your money. So although I do want to pay my staff extra for working evenings and weekends and incentivizing those behaviors, I don't agree with just giving them a huge hourly wage. I think that incentivizes the wrong behaviors. So like I said, you want to incentivize the behaviors that you want to replicate. But they also have to not violate internal and external fairness. Last video, we talked about incentivizing these behaviors. Here, let me get my finger up here. There we go. I always did a daily filled hygiene bonus. Anybody that was responsible for filling my hygiene, if we had a daily hygiene goal, and if every time we surpassed that daily filled hygiene goal, the staff would get a bonus. Now, I did this daily as opposed to monthly, and the reason why is if you get to the point where in a month, if you look like you're not going to make goal, then it seems to be kind of demotivating for staff. But if even in a month where it's a down month and you're not going to make goal, if you have a daily goal towards the end of the month, your staff is still motivated to make those daily goals. So that's why I did a daily goal as opposed to a monthly goal. Also, for my hygienists, I paid them a per hygiene appointment bonus. Every hygiene patient that a hygienist saw, I paid them an extra $10 an hour. And you could pay them $5, $10, $15, $20 an hour. It doesn't matter, but you're going to pay them a little bit extra. So you pay them normally. You pay them what a normal person doing their job would make, but then you give them extra for seeing those hygiene patients. I also paid my staff an extra evening and weekend bonus. I paid my staff an extra $10 an hour for every hour after 5 p.m. and every weekend hour. So for external fairness, I would pay them a normal wage, Monday through Friday from, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. They would just get a normal wage. But on those evening hours, they would not only get the normal wage, but they'd also get an evening and a weekend bonus. So they could be making an extra $10 an hour on evenings and weekends. Gave my staff all a collections bonus. We had a daily collections goal. I just added up all my bills for the month, added on some bonuses, added in some profit, and then just divided it by the number of days in the month. And every time we collected more than that in a day, I'd give every full-time employee a collections bonus. And I only reserved this to full-time employees, not part-time employees. But in any case, that was a collections bonus, because if the office wins, I want us all to win, right? If the staff is showing up and they're doing a good job, I want them to win. I want them to make some money as well. I talked briefly about in the last video about a tiered pay structure for your doctors. Again, there's no right or wrong here, but I remember when I was an associate and I had the possibility of making 35% if I collected over $100,000. I was trying to get over $100,000 and not just settling at 70 or 80, or some doctors are happy with 40,000, right? So sometimes a tiered pay structure helps your doctors get beyond their quote unquote comfort zone and maybe work a little smarter instead of working harder. So in any case, yeah, so these are some things that I would do. So the basics are, if a staff member is working typical 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Thursday or Monday through Friday, they just get a normal pay, that something that's does not violate internal, external fairness, something that somebody across the street would make. But, if they're working evenings, I'm going to pay them extra. And I just paid it out as a flat bonus. I didn't have a separate, they didn't have to clock out and then clock back in. I just paid it out as a flat $10 an hour bonus. And then same thing on weekends. And then, all of these other things too that, add up to your office being profitable as well. So however you're developing your pay structure, again, there's no right or wrong here, but however you're developing it, just remember, it can't violate external fairness. If you're asking your staff to do more than they have to do across the street, whether it be working more hours or working weekends, you're going to have to pay them more. But don't just pay them a larger hourly wage, because all that does is just incentivize them to show up and take your money and collect the paycheck, right? But pay them normally for normal dentist hours, but give them bonuses and incentives to do the extra stuff so that they can feel fair in that they're doing more work, they're staying longer hours, and they're working weekends. They're giving up more of their life, but they're also being rewarded for it as well. So, and again, lastly, just incentivize those behaviors that, anything that goes outside of external fairness parameters, incentivize those behaviors so that your staff is being rewarded for not only showing up and working those extra hours, but doing such a good job to keep your office profitable as well. So I've also had the experience with this, but I'll probably save this for another video. But if you want to keep your staff forever, maybe you want to get them a set of these, but maybe I'll save this one for another video. So, but I've seen this in action before. So. In any case, I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, I'm Dr. Bickling. Here's my contact information, and I'll see you on the next one. I'll talk to you soon. Bye. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content like it, go to ownitdental.com or click the link above and check out my services. I have dozens of hours of training videos, and I've negotiated reduced lab fees for all my clients. So if you want to get out of the dental chair and start owning your business, go to ownitdental.com and check out my services, and I'll see you soon.